Thank you for coming. I wanted to reach you on another issue first. On another issue. On March 10, the neo-Nazi regime in Kiev committed yet another barbaric crime against the civilian population of our country by carrying out a missile strike. A missile. You hear me? Louder? Can I raise the mic?
Not from there, but I told it downstairs.
Okay. On March 10, the neo-Nazi regime in Kiev committed yet another barbaric crime against the civilian population of our country by carrying out a missile strike on Bryansk, a busy business district located in close proximity to multi-apartment residential buildings, children's goods stores, a university and other civilian infrastructure came under deliberate attack. As a result of this strike, 7 people were killed and 42 were injured. The expired head of the regime, Zelensky, speaking to the press, described this heinous attack as a successful operation and thanked the armed forces of Ukraine for their service. This is yet another striking example of the sheer cynicism with which the Kiev authorities treat attacks that claim lives of civilians. The strike was carried out with the use of at least 7 long-range British Storm Shadow missiles. It is entirely obvious, and we have repeatedly pointed this out, that such an operation would be technically impossible for the Ukrainian armed forces to conduct on their own. The use of advanced Western weaponry takes place only with the direct involvement of foreign specialists who guide the targeting. In addition, certain NATO countries provide the necessary intelligence data. As such, the Western sponsors of Zelensky bear full responsibility for the killing of civilians. Instead of giving peace negotiations facilitated by the United States a genuine chance, Kiev and London are seeking ways to further escalate tensions. This tactic is not new. It has been repeatedly employed whenever a real prospect of settlement begins to emerge. It is hardly a coincidence that the timing of this attack coincided with signals from Washington expressing hope that negotiations on the Ukrainian settlement have reached a turning point, I quote, and that achieving peace is entirely possible. Regrettably, international organizations have once again remained blind and deaf to what has happened. Yesterday, during the daily noon briefing, the spokesman of the UN Secretary General mentioned the issue only in passing and only after being asked a direct question. Even then, he stated that he, I quote, hasn't seen that particular report, limiting himself to a general remark that UN is against such attacks. But where is clear and unequivocal condemnation of this crime? Where is the statement from the Secretary General himself? The continued silence on this and similar grave incidents raises serious questions about the impartiality and consistency of the organization's approach. We call on the UN Secretariat to abandon the policy of double standards and to provide an appropriate, clear, and unequivocal assessment of this heinous attack. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Ambassador. I have a question on the war in Iran. Russia is a close ally of Iran, and President Putin has talked to President Trump and many other leaders. Does Russia see itself playing any kind of a role in negotiations to end this war? Are there talks going on, and if so, how serious are they?
There are no negotiations, as you know. Negotiations were held before the aggression started, and it started right when negotiations were proceeding, and Iran was ready to continue negotiating. But it was a premeditated, deliberate attack, which which U.S. confessed in. They said later that they were planning it despite all these negotiations that were taking place. Now, as far as I know, there are no negotiations, although Iran expressed willingness for negotiations.
Mr. Ambassador, this is Namo Abdullah with Rudao Media Network. Namo Abdullah with Rudao Media Network. One question on, on the Strait of Hormuz.
On what?
On the Strait of Hormuz, for how long do you expect it to stay closed? And is Russia willing to offer help to make sure it remains open?
The Strait of Hormuz is not our territorial waters. I don't think we can do anything on that thing. The threats to close the Strait of Hormuz is a direct consequence of what is going on in Iran. What will happen to it, I don't know. But the maritime traffic in that part of the world, a very important one, has been not just severely reduced but basically halted, which told immediately on the economic situation, on the situation with the carbohydrates, on the situation with the prices, and that is very sad. As I said today in the statement, that the countries of the region, and not just the region but of the entire world, will feel the consequences, and not just economic, of what is happening in the Middle East.
Ambassador, it's Pamela Falk from U.S. News and World Report. Reflect on the vote right now, the vote on your draft resolution on Iran. Why do you think the other resolution got so much support, and why do you think yours did not?
The other resolution is a clear invitation for the aggressors to continue what they are doing. It is unbalanced. I said we offered very fair amendments to it, which were completely ignored. We were reassured by our Gulf friends that they have nothing against our draft, although today we saw the results of the voting. Some of the members, in particular those who voted against it, explained it by laughable pretext that Russia doesn't have the right to promote any resolution in the Security Council, thus betraying themselves. Our resolution is very neutral to the gravity of the situation that we are witnessing. We avoided any mentioning of, deliberately avoided any mentioning of who, when, why, but we just called for the early resolution of the crisis and for going back to the political and diplomatic means of resolving it.
Thank you.
Why did you veto the resolution, and do you realize this will be a disappointment for Iran?
There are many disappointments in the world on many issues. The thing is that we recognize that the Gulf countries suffer sometimes. What suffers not just the American bases that are located in these countries, but the civilians and the civilian infrastructure, which we do not appreciate, and we say about it openly, and we understand the sentiment of the Gulf countries about it. But the problem is that, as I said, the cause and the consequences in the resolution are put upside down.
Thank you, Ambassador. A quick follow-up on the Middle East. Are there any plans to propose another draft resolution? And on Ukraine, do you have any plans to call for?
To propose another draft resolution on what?
On the Middle East.
On the Middle East, we just had one. You saw the result. Let's see how it goes. We don't know what will happen next, and we'll be guided by the development of the events.
And on Ukraine, any plans to call for an urgent meeting for Security Council?
No.
Thanks.
Ambassador Stefano Vaccara, Ital Press, La Voce di New York. According to President Trump, he had a phone conversation with President Putin, where President Putin told him that he was going to help. Now,
He offered help, I would
yeah,
say.
he offered it was going to help, but today we saw in the Security Council that where is this help? Who is fault is that at the moment, Russia is trying to help United States. The United States is not getting this help, doesn't want this help. What's happening?
Helping is not appeasing. We are calling a spade a spade. We're calling things by the name, but we are ready to help to get out of the dire situation the whole region and the United States itself got itself into.
Ambassador, neither resolution mentioned the United States and Israel's role in this war. You're saying that was a deliberate step by Russia. Was that also, in your view, a deliberate step by the Bahrain resolution? It's just a little strange to read the resolution and not name who the perpetrators are.
Two things. First, there is a convention in the Security Council, and you know it pretty well, that no permanent member will ever vote against itself in a resolution that mentions its name, and that's life. You may laugh at it, but this is how it works. Secondly, we proposed amendments that didn't mention the name, but that didn't mention the names, but it offered solutions. So I think that we didn't violate either the convention nor the essence.
Ambassador Maryam Ramati with Iran International. There are some reports that suggest Russia is giving intelligence to the Islamic Republic of Iran.
You're asking the wrong person. I'm not in the intelligence business.
Thank you.
I think,
Thank you.
thank you.